What makes someone instantly unattractive in your eyes? Lack of personal hygiene. Long time ago, I met this girl at a bar. She was super cute. She was super hot. We had great chemistry. Bar got more crowded. Bar got more louder. Couldn't hear her as well, so we had to talk closer. She leaned in to talk closer and I smelled something awful. Awful. I tried to ignore it on account of she was super cute and she was super hot. The stench was still super strong. I pushed through because I am a man. I brought her back home. We kissed. I took off my clothes. She took off her clothes. Her vag reeked. Reeked. I tried to push through because I am a man. I could not. She reeked. I had to stop fooling around. I told her I had a tummy ache and I couldn't go on. She left my apartment. My sheets reeked. Too much posting on social and fishing for likes, compliments. I know a girl that posts a selfie every day. She's married with 3 children but just needs the validation from the internet for some reason. Sometimes she'll post her children, 2 are in their mid-teens, with 1 being 20, and say, "Look at how attractive my children are with their blue eyes and brown hair. Good genes y'all. My sons are so handsome. My daughter is so gorgeous. She looks just like me, doesn't she?" Double quote. It's sad. If social media was deleted, IDK how she would fare, lol. Having a "you're either with me or against me" attitude. I've never met someone that conducts themselves like that who also aren't toxic in many other ways. My girlfriend has a roommate who does this. I don't care. I'll get what I want. So and so better do this or I'm not speaking to them. Emotional manipulation on the highest level. It's almost always a projection of their own insecurities. Talking badly about their friends behind their backs. I've been kind of struggling with this lately. I have a friend that is very sensitive. Like I once said Disney isn't my thing and she cried because, according to her, I implied her interests were immature. We get along great in other aspects of our lives. She can be a lot of fun. We've known each other for a long time. And our friend group is the same. But sometimes I find her to be a lot. Basically what happened with the Disney thing happens anytime you disagree with her and it's exhausting to deal with it, so I usually just don't say anything. We've been hanging out quite a bit as a friend group, socially distancing outside, and she's really getting on my nerves. After my so and I leave these hangouts I usually vent for an hour about her and honestly it helps. Although afterwards I always question, am I just being a gossipy monster shit talking my friend or is this an okay way to deal with these frustrations? Cigarettes. Exactly. I used to be against smoking because I thought it was a waste of money, dangerous, etc. As I got older I got less judgmental and realized people should be allowed to do what they want. But even the most respectful never smokes near me or in homes or cars and always throws their butts away. Smoker always smells absolutely disgusting to me. I've dated one smoker in my adult years and it was wretched. Didn't matter if she used perfume and brushed her teeth after, I could still smell it, and especially in her hair. I would sometimes literally gag after kissing her. Bad attitude. This one guy always stick in my head for this. I met him in a store while I was just browsing. And he came up and commented about something I was looking at, noting that he also liked it. So then we started chatting. I was totally open to it until he asked what my main interests were. What shows, movies I liked. And everything I said. He'd respond with "HA that's shit" and went on a rant about how awful my taste was. And how amazing this was and that he should educate me. But at the same time, he kept hitting on me. Like I was supposed to be impressed that he was shitting all over everything I liked and basically acting like some kind of real life tsundere asshole. It was so off-putting. Narcissism. It makes me want to slap the narcissist and then everyone who encourages it. I don't mind narcissism per se. As a therapist, I've met many warm, kind and funny narcissists. The hostile ones who are entitled and manipulative and consider themselves victims of their surroundings are the ones that annoy the shit out of me. They take themselves way too seriously. They think hating on everything makes them edgy or something. Yeah. I hate that one too. They're also the type of person to put something down before even trying it. I don't have to try it to know it's stupid. Well, you've already decided you don't like it because you're certainly not going to admit you were wrong in your preconceived opinion. Lack of curiosity. Rudeness. Smugness, and most of all, ignorant people who won't listen to the other side. When you realize that they only care about themselves and not other people. I was with a guy once that was on the whole shy, sweet and modest. One day we were walking through the city and passed a homeless man with a cup for coins. This sweet guy opened his mouth and all this awful, far-right crap came out. Homeless people are societal cancer. Why can't I just walk down the street without being harassed, etc. Decided then and there that it was over. Told him that was really big talk from someone whose mother still changes his sheets and gives him money to socialize. People who have no empathy for those less fortunate really rub me up the wrong way. Racism. This. Recently I thought this guy was quite attractive and then I learned his political views, which were very racist, and suddenly his physical appearance morphed into a piece of shit. So there was this woman I knew back in the day. I'd been around her for 3 years at that point. Had gotten turned down early in our friendship. But we kept hanging out and I always carried the torch and would have loved for her to change her mind. So one time she was driving us for a night out and she pulls into the parking lot right in front of the place downtown we were going. A very tiny lot that never has a spot open. I'm surprised about even bothering to try instead of parking in a deck a block away. But maybe she'd find a spot. As expected. The lot was full except a singular remaining handicap spot and she just parks on in it. She opens the glove compartment. Grabs what I find out was her uncle's handicap placard and hangs it and just gets out of the car. So that was how I no longer felt sad about being turned down by a big crush of mine back in the day. A lack of basic common courtesy. Selfish. Careless driving. Talking over people in conversations. Not respecting people's personal space. Being disruptive in public places. Being rude to strangers and service workers. Basically, I feel like the little things a person does like this says a lot more than the big stuff. Lots of people will act like very nice people when they realize everyone's watching. So I tend to look for how people act in these small, day-to-day decisions because it says a lot more about who they really are. I have seen a lot of people that will say the right things, or donate some money to a charity, or post kind things on social media. But then you hang out with them, and they cut people off in traffic while they talk on their phone. And they snap their fingers in the bartender's face to get their attention. And they point out people who look different and make fun of them. Those are the people you really have to look out for. And yes, I would say that's one of the most important things to look for when you're dating someone. Or considering dating someone. Especially since, if they like you, they're going to pretend they're much better than that. They won't treat you like that. At least not right away. But they'll get tired of the charade after a while. And you'll soon find yourself on the other side of their mistreatment. Someone putting on a facade. I'm very good at picking this up and it is super frustrating. Stop overreacting and trying too hard. Just be yourself. Be yourself. I totally agree with you. But I also sometimes have to check myself when I feel like accusing someone of doing this because I've found that occasionally, definitely not always, the facades are empaths and can't help but understand and reflect what's around them. I still try to get to know them as them. But I realized that sometimes who they are and how they relate to the world is by reflecting it back in understanding. Maybe this is a more common issue because I'm still a young adult, but people that feel the need to be overly edgy. All their jokes need to be as offensive as possible. Satan this, Satan that, etc. Don't get me wrong. A good dark humor joke or using taboo isn't a bad thing. But there's diminishing returns when you can't say I'm public is the norm. Where do you even go from there? There's no shock value when it becomes an expected response. Someone who is clearly looking to gossip from the moment you meet them. It seems like in every movie you get the person who moves to the smaller town, new school, new job. And they meet the person who is clearly going to be their sassy best friend. and they walk them around and give them all the lowdown on the sly about everyone around them. We are always supposed to see that as some kind of a camaraderie building scene. But if I were the lead in that movie, I would know to stay away from that person. The instant someone else new comes to town, you're going to be the one they are dishing all the info about. Self-pity, I can't abide it. One of the most destructive emotions to entertain. This. I work with a woman who is constantly wallowing in her own poor life choices while refusing to not make them, and it's begun to make me physically sick. She's on a short contract that ends next year but is refusing to find another job, vainly hoping that there might be another contact for her to go on to at our company. She keeps doing the "oh well, if I can't get another contact I'll end up unemployed." Oh no. You have half a year to find a job in a market that is very open and not really affected by the pandemic. Drunk person. I don't mind people drinking, but I can spot alcoholic from distance, and if person don't know any limits. I grew up with alcoholic parents and I hate it. My partner don't drink at all and I get drunk maybe once or twice a year. I don't mind drunk people, but I am annoyed by people who won't shut up about how much they've had to drink, or ones who only seem to talk about their drunken stories. I am someone who enjoys having drinks with my friends, but the conversation doesn't need to be all about alcohol. Complainers. Especially those that are always the visitman stirring up drama. I immediately separate myself from negative people. Smoking. Vaping. Blackout drinking. Lack of hygiene. Obesity. Never shuts up. Open mouth chewing. Compulsive buying, hoarding. Chronic irresponsibility. The list goes on. Wearing a mask under your nose. The one-upper. The person who feels like it's their duty to one-up you on everything you say. They slept even less. They had a worse headache. They had to wait longer or had to pay more. Whatever. They aren't really listening to what you have to say. They just can't wait to tell you how much more their experience was. Smelly armpits. There's truly not an excuse to smell bad when there are so many products and concoctions that help you to not smell bad. I just can't. My eyes get teary and the gag reflex starts to warm up. Yeah, I know what you mean. My roommate is an example of this. She bathes twice a day. Changes her clothes every time she comes back to the dorm from outside and also before going to bed. Yet she has a really bad stinky armpit problem. And the worst part is she doesn't take any efforts to put on deodorants or something. Maybe because she thinks it's no bother or she simply doesn't care. I never had the guts to talk about this with her, but it hurts every time she borrows my clothes. The stench left on them after that is unbearable and it takes 3 rounds of heavy duty laundry to remove it completely. When someone gives off the aura that they are entitled to my recognition. Those are people that I usually just completely ignore. Their reactions are the best. Because we're talking about people that just absolutely have to be seen, and it drives them insane when you act like they're non-existent. Being boring. Especially when you're trying desperately to start a conversation by bringing up multiple topics but all they give back is one-word answers like cool and okay. Lack of intelligence. I enjoy good conversation. I've found that some less sharp people are interesting in their own respects. They can even have a couple of cool hobbies or experiences. People who are smart and too sure of themselves and their ideas can be the most uninteresting people on the planet. No manners. First ever comment post. It may be weird, but one thing that always makes me see someone as unattractive is if their passion in life or goals in life are selfish. Like if they chose a certain career path just because of the money. I became a cook chef because I love to cook. To try new things. Learn about and experience the world and other cultures, peoples through food. I like to see others enjoy the things I've created. And I love the freedom and creativity that being a true and successful chef. Not the money. Shit. Being a chef. Let alone just a cook working his way up in the industry. You don't make much at all. The average yearly income of a chef here in the US is somewhere around $50. 000. I think that pursuing a dream or passion because it truly interests you, makes you happy, helps others, and or makes others happy is attractive. Not being the CEO of a Fortune 500 company because it pays 6-7 figures. A penis. Edit. I'm a guy. Edit. Do any smokers actually find other smokers more attractive? Assuming they're attractive already? As a smoker, who is currently trying to quit, I've always find non-smokers more attractive when they're already attractive. It stems from the fact that my only regret in life is that I started smoking. A lack of self-awareness. When someone has an image of who they are in their head which doesn't align with who they actually are, you end up with someone who is less of a person and more of a loose collection of character defects. Almost everyone is like this until they have their little emotional maturity moment that makes them self-aware. But as a teenager it's really fucking common to run into people who haven't matured yet. People like this are fine to be friends with. But any type of close friendship or especially a relationship is out of the picture. Bad character is unattractive. Being rude, arrogant, aggressive, unkind, ungrateful, deceitful, vain, selfish, lazy. Looks are secondary. Some people spend so much time and effort worrying about their body, hair, clothes etc. but should probably put more into being polite, humble, peaceful, grateful, honest, modest, generous and hardworking. If you develop the right qualities of character, that will shine through into real and lasting attractiveness. Obesity. Like. Not chubby but like. When they look like they swallowed one of those giant beach balls that get passed around at concerts or circus. Treating people in a shitty way. I don't care how hot you are or how well dressed. If you're an asshole for no reason then you're as ugly outside as you are on the inside. Anyone who supports Black Lives Matter. Consequently that defaults me to being a racist for some reason. Life hard.